Hi. Oh, here we go. Hi, and happy Friday. Jody here from Healing Journey. So today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit more about probiotics. So there's actually quite a bit of confusion about probiotics, which ones to take, how do you know what percentage, like how high the dose should be, which brand is a good brand. So let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into probiotics. And I'm going to be talking about a brand. I don't normally talk about specific products, but I am going to be talking about a brand that I really like. And I'm going to explain to you why I like this probiotic. It's actually not available in Canada. So I ship it in across the border because I am so in love with it. When we look at probiotics, actually the National Institute for Health in the US has come up with 3 criteria that needs to be met in order for a probiotic to technically be called a probiotic. So basically this criteria is the organism must be normally occurring within humans' digestive tracts. Okay, so anything that we add in that's not normally occurring isn't necessarily considered a probiotic. So this is important when we consider soil-based probiotics, which I know are on the market, because those things are not natural to humans' intestinal system. So they're technically not a probiotic. The second thing is that in order to consistently trigger a healthy boost in immune function, the probiotic must be supplemented in concentrations higher than what's normally found in the digestive tract. Okay, so let's pull this apart a little bit. And one of the most common probiotic strains on the market are lactobacillus and bifidobacter. Okay, so most things that you buy are going to contain those things. And lactobacillus and bifidobacter, essentially in our body, we contain 20 trillion of these species, okay? So in order to be considered a probiotic, we need to be supplementing over the 20 trillion mark, which we don't do. So when you buy something, you're getting 100 billion, not over 20 trillion. So according to that definition, basically none of these probiotics on the market are actually probiotics. And so 100 billion isn't going to be high enough to stimulate our immune system to make some positive changes, okay? And the third criteria for probiotics is that the organism or the strain of bacteria has to survive in the digestive tract as well as in the environment, like outside of the body. Okay, and this also becomes problematic when we look at bifidobacteria and lactobacilli. And you've probably heard this criticism before, I'm taking all these probiotics, are they getting to the right spot? And research has actually shown that they don't. So often these probiotics don't withstand the gastric juices in the stomach, and they don't get through the upper part of the intestinal tract to get to where they belong, which is the colon. So basically what happens is that 95% of probiotics that are sold on the market aren't actually probiotics according to this criteria. So that's a huge problem. And obviously there's a benefit to balancing good bacteria, especially when, I run the GI map and you can see people's normal flora, whether they're high or low. And sometimes I run these tests and a lot of people are low on healthy flora. So we obviously want to boost this. So there's something to probiotics, but the problem is most of the strains on the market aren't doing what we want them to do. This is where this product called MegaSporeBiotic comes in. And this is a unique one-of-a-kind probiotic. And so it is spore-based. So what is a spore? So a spore lives in soil, but this probiotic, let me clarify, is not a soil-based probiotic. The spores live in the soil. So what they do is they shock these probiotics into spore form. And so when they're in spore form, it can actually get through our gastric juices, get through our bile salts, and make it in the body to where we want it to go, which is into the duodenum. And so that makes this qualify for a probiotic. It also uses the bacilli strand. And so this is very different than the lactobacillus and bifidobacter strand. And so as a result, you don't need like over 20 trillion. I think if we look at this, it's 4 billion. So it's a lot easier because our body doesn't have a lot of these to begin with. So it's easier to get higher concentrations, which are then going to positively impact our immune function. So this probiotic fits the criteria. And it's actually pretty amazing. So the spores can stay in your system for up to 21 days. And they do something which is really cool called quorum sensing. And so basically they know which parts of our intestine are in, or our large intestine is in a dysbiotic state. And so they'll crack open and eat up the negative bacteria. So super cool. And then what they do when they're eating this bacteria is they're going to poop out 12 natural antibiotics, and these antibiotics are going to eradicate pathogens and parasites. So not only are we repopulating with good bacteria, but this good bacteria is able to, produce metabolites or byproducts that are going to impact the negative, undesirable parasites and pathogens in our body. And so what they're going to do, they're so smart, they're going to sit by the good flora and metabolic waste, and they're going to pour a ton of antioxidants onto the good flora. And this is going to be really, really positive. So it's kind of like weed whacking and rebuilding at the same time. So we are getting rid of the negative and reconditioning the gut. Why I also like this product is that you don't need to refrigerate it, which is fantastic. So if you're traveling or you're going away for a couple days, you can take this with you. It also helps control bacterial overgrowth. It improves regularity. It reduces gas production by 50%. That is huge. It's an immune modulation for prevention of allergies and infections and asthma. It works with antibiotics. So it supports what the antibiotics are doing. And why I really love this product is if, you can't have fermented foods. So a lot of times fermented foods can cause reactions for people with small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or a histamine issue. So if you can't have the fermented foods, then, the probiotics typically sold are going to bother you. And that's because, you're adding more bacterial overgrowth to what's already overgrown in the small intestine. And fermented foods are high in histamine. And so if you have a lot of infection or a lot of histamines already in your body, you're just adding fuel to the fire. So, a lot of these people, and this was myself, wanted to get healthy, wanted to rebalance the gut, and wasn't able to do this because I couldn't have fermented foods, and I couldn't have the over-the-counter probiotics that you can buy. So that's a really big one for this because it doesn't bother people with those issues. So basically anyone can take it. And it also produces key nutrients, so antioxidants, B vitamins, vitamin K, and CoQ10. So a really, really fantastic product here that I highly recommend for people. And I saw a huge change in this myself when I started to take this, a massive change in my digestive function. So this is why I love this probiotic. If you're interested, I do have a link you can purchase it from. Unfortunately, it's not a product that you can get without a practitioner at this point. I'm really hoping that they change that because it's such a great product that I think it should be on most natural health food store shelves and not in the fridge. So I could go on and on and on about why it's amazing. And what makes this product different from fermented foods is the fact that, fermented foods, a lot of the benefits come from the nutrients. And yes, there are some beneficial bacteria, but that bacteria isn't able to target negative bacteria. So they don't really have an antimicrobial effect to them, whereas this product does. So there's an extra layer of benefit to having this product. And it's not something that you need to stay on forever, actually, which is fantastic. So there's a maintenance dose, which is once every 3 or 4 days, once you've stabilized things. So it's not like, it's a lifelong journey with probiotics. You can just take it every once in a while and keep that consistency once you've healed your gut. All right, well, enjoy your weekend, and I will be back next Friday talking about something different. Until then.